I'm Not Weird, I Have SPD is a book about this little girl, Alexandra. Now, Alexandra was born, and at first the parents thought she was a typical, normal little girl, but as she got older, you'll see throughout the book, she started having fits. She would cry, she would scream, she couldn't eat. She would just go into these, as an educator, I would call them immature fits, but the parents, they didn't know what was wrong with Alexandra, and they didn't know what was going on. Why would a kid stop eating their favorite food? If you have kids, they always want to eat their favorite food. They don't stop eating their favorite food, and their clothing was a problem with everything that Alexandra did. And throughout this book, not only does it say there's a problem, I like, as you can see, there's tons and tons of text. It goes into, here's the problem, here's why Alexandra's crying, but the public doesn't necessarily know the problem. And then throughout the book, as it starts explaining the problem and how it evolves and how, poor Alexandra feels worse and worse, up until one day someone comes in and says, Alexandra, you're fine. You just have SPD. Now, what is a sensory processing disorder? Well, as you know by now from reading the book, certain things she couldn't stand. When when she brushed her hair, it felt like somebody was pulling her. When she wore certain clothing, she felt like there were worms on her. And she, as a girl, now that she knows what's bothering her, now it's up to her to do one of two things. The first thing is to find a way to cope with it, and the second thing is to find a way to explain to others when she needs her time. And this page is actually, means the most to me, where she kind of tells her mom, she hugs her mom for the first time in a long time, but she says she doesn't like it, but she knows how to cope with herself, and she's going to figure out ways. And that was just such a beautiful thing. And I actually have a story I wrote down in my blog post, so if you want to hear it, definitely check it out. And this story in the blog post, it's just so touching. Now, if you don't understand what sensory processing disorder is, it's very important you do understand, because it really, really affects the kids in more ways than you could imagine. And the last line of the book, which is my all-time favorite, it says, I'm not weird, I'm Alexandra, and I have SPD. Because you know what? She's not weird. She just has a processing disorder. And we just have to respect kids like that, because they really are amazing. So definitely, if you like this video, check out the blog post to hear my personal story of SPD, of a child that I do know. And like the video, subscribe, and best of all, check out all the links below, because you can get a copy of this, because we're doing another giveaway. You get a copy of this, a copy of all the other books, and feel free to subscribe, like my channel, because we are always having giveaways and educational videos and education all the way. So definitely let me know what you think. And I look forward to bringing you more books like this. And if you do have a child who suffers from SPD, I would like to know how, to connect, and leave in the comment box below your story, because every child deals with it differently. You'll see the child that I wrote about had it was severe in her areas, but it was only more or less in 2 or 3 areas of her growth. And this child, Alexandra, had it in so many more areas. And, it would be great to hear your stories and how you dealt with it and how your child has overcame it or is learning to cope. So I'm Not Weird, I Have SPD is definitely a great book that teachers, principals, and educators should, even if they don't have a child with SPD, just be aware, because you never know what the child is feeling and how they think. Happy reading.